of rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of men and women, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have called to the performance of important trusts in these islands. Father, let your blessing descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of these islands and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. And this we beg in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all evermore. Amen. Please be seated. Item number 2, the confirmation of minutes. Senate Vice President Karen Bell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Just bear with me while I find it. Madam President, I move that the minutes of the meeting of Wednesday, 15th March 2023 be taken as read, and that consideration of the minutes of the meeting of Monday, 20th of March 2023 be deferred.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection.
Madam President, I move that the minutes of Wednesday, 15th March 2023 be confirmed.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection. The minutes are confirmed. Thank you, Senator Karen Bell. Item number 3, messages.
No messages, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Sumner. Item number 4, reports of committees. There are none. Item number 5, announcements. There are none. Item number 6, notices of motion. There are none. Item number 7, petitions. There are none. Item number 8, statements. We have one statement, and that is in the name of the Honorable Owen Darrell, Minister of Youth, Culture, and Sport. Mr. Darrell, you have the floor.
Good morning, Madam President. Thank you very much. Madam President, I am pleased to share news of a new initiative arising from the Department of Culture, a series of workshops entitled Creatives Cultural Labs. The workshops are currently in progress and feature a range of learning topics taught in small focus groups with industry experts serving as workshop teachers. 13 workshops in total will take place by the end of March, providing artists in various fields the opportunity to hone their existing skills or branch out into an area that they haven't previously explored. Workshops include how to act on camera for film auditions, sound check 101, and mixing board basics. Pricing artwork, TikTok Reels 101 for creatives. These and other classes are being taught by creative experts, including Naizinga Ming of the Bermuda Society of Arts, Patrina Power Girl Painter, Tina Stevenson of the Bermudian Magazine, and Eugene Dean of Spanish Town, amongst others. Madam President, I've been able to attend some of the workshops on offer and was genuinely pleased to witness not only the depth of experience being shared by the workshop leaders, but also how many participants appreciated these sessions and have often been tailored to the needs of attendees. Madam President, there is so much talent on this island that requires minor support, training, encouragement, mentorship as a boost to help them reach their full potential. And this initiative helps to fill that need. Madam President, in addition to hosting these workshops, the Department of Culture, in partnership with the Department of Communications, has arranged for professional headshots to be taken of workshop participants to add to their portfolio. The Department of Culture also offers online creative catalog at www.creatives.bm as a platform whereby Bermudian artists can showcase their talents for clients wishing to hire. Madam President, these workshops fulfill the first goal of the National Cultural Heritage Policy to promote culture and develop our creatives, specifically the section on training. Programs like Creative Culture Labs show that the Department of Culture is actively supporting the development of cultural industries and continuously evolving to meet the needs of Bermuda's artists, musicians, dancers, writers, and creatives. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Minister Darrell. Would any senator care to speak on the statement? Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm pushing us too quickly. Sorry about that. Yeah. Introduction of bills, there are none. Item number 10, the first reading of public bills, there are none. First reading of private bills, there are none. And now, questions. Item number 12. Yes, thank you, Senator Smith. Opposition Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much to the minister for providing this statement this morning. The opposition is fully supportive of the initiative to continue to train and give guidance to our creatives. But Madam President, at a time that you're seeing more and more of our young people, specifically the ones that are interested in the creative field, leave the country and not come back. I'm wondering if the minister can speak to, step one is to give the training and give that guidance, but is there an opportunity to talk to the people that are participating in this kind of initiative to find out whether there are actual opportunities for work, whether there are actual opportunities for them to be able to perform? Because in this island where we see less and less entertainment venues, we see less and less hotels actually hiring our creatives, where we used to be an island that was filled with big groups of entertainment. We seem to see less and less of that, so that opportunity has seemed to have dried up. So step one is to train and give guidance, but if there's not going to be opportunity provided for these creatives, I fear that we'll see more and more of them choose to leave the island to try to find opportunity. So if the minister can give us a little guidance of what that step is. I understand that they're on page 3, there's a discussion of the platform where people can find this talent that's showcased, but where are we going to find these opportunities for these young people or not so young people to actually be able to perform, considering one, where our economy is, and two, the fact that the opportunities have dried up over the last several years. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ben Smith, Opposition Leader. Would any other senator care to speak on this statement? Yes, Senator DeCuto, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to echo my colleagues' points. Very pleased to see this initiative. And also, looking at some of the names of the people involved, I can see some talented and experienced people will be there to lend their guidance. As you know, I'm a firm believer in how can we stimulate the creative people, the people who bring that energy to our culture. My hope is that the government can create the economic situation, the economic growth and vibrancy here that will then create the market and the audience for these people's hard work. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator DeCuto. Would any other senator care to speak on this bill? Yes, Senator Tucker.
Thank you, Madam President.
Third question.
Thank you, Madam President. And again, just to add to what my colleagues have already asked, I would just like to know if there are any initiatives that are used as a foundation in the schools that would springboard and introduce students to these types of workshops and sort of encourage, their way forward. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Robin Tucker. Would any other senator care to ask questions on this statement? Senator Dill, you have the floor.
Certainly. Thank you, Madam President. And I'd just like to congratulate the Ministry of Culture for this initiative, because indeed Bermuda does have quite an extraordinary amount of talent, and I am excited about the new initiatives that are emerging, not just within the Ministry of Culture, but also within tourism. And I'm just excited about what the future holds for Bermuda and for the arts and entertainment industry. And I want to thank the minister for the work that he is doing in that area.
Thank you, Senator Dill. Yeah, I don't know. Does any other senator want to ask questions on this statement? Hearing none, then it's over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Madam President. While in the last 6 months since I've been in this role, and you've heard me say it before, I've been very pleased to be introduced to this world of creatives. Um, it was something that you kind of go out in the community and you see individuals in the arts, and that's their passion, and you can tell their passion from a mile away. And it was not until I was able to sit down with some of them and have conversations to understand the great things that they are doing in the community and they have to offer the community. So I will not actually agree with Senator Smith that there's no opportunities in Bermuda. Everyone, no matter what they're doing, feel that there can be more opportunities, and everyone's looking for additional opportunities. But I'd like to just point out that there have been opportunities that have made available. It's good to see that on a monthly basis, they have the Chew Stick monthly open mic. And everyone in society, in this community, would know how instrumental Chew Stick Foundation have been. They've been through some rough times over the last couple of years. As we know, the unfortunate incident that happened at their hub many years ago, and then moving into COVID, there was some difficult times, but it's good to see that they have been resilient, and all of the creatives that are part of that foundation have been having open mics. I know that the Department of Culture hosted and supported one of these creative lives recently at the Blue Water Anglers Club for creatives to come and showcase their talent. The Department of Culture has also been instrumental in other creative lives. You would have known that a couple of months ago at the Workmen's Club, we hosted a live band session. So there are opportunities that we are continuing to see. This cultural lab series allows people to network. It has, as I said in the statement, afforded people opportunities. We've already had one participant in one of the classes be hired by the presenter to actually work with them. So these opportunities are actually coming directly out of this initiative that we've put on. Other presenters have been reinvigorated to offer more extensive series of creative workshops. So we see that coming from there will be more opportunities. Also, if you follow social media, that has become a very, very vibrant place for creatives to showcase what they're doing and the opportunities that us as the consumers can go to watch and be a part of these talents. I know, the Department of Youth, Sport, and Recreation hosted the Sports Awards, and it was very important for us to hire a live band so that the creatives, and that was a 5-piece band, the Tino Martinez Quintet, to showcase their talents as to what they're doing. And if you follow social media, you will see that that particular band and others are all up and down the country. Finding very creative and unique ways to create opportunities for themselves. So I'm happy that we are able to support that as the summer comes and we have a bumper crop of cruise ships that are coming into the island this year. You will see that these creatives will be in demand, and I'm confident that coming out of some rough times, the creatives will get opportunities. I want to again highlight Miss Shanna Hollis, who's the new chair of the Bermuda Arts Council, and the Arts Council are very instrumental in funding these creatives, especially in the arts. And I would not agree again, like I said, with Senator Smith that there are no opportunities, because in this time we have seen that Bermudians are resilient people, as is our Heritage Month theme. And I'm very confident that opportunities will continue to come their way. Now, I think Senator Smith does have much background in creatives and what has happened. And I know that some of the traditional, what we call it, ways of entertainment may be falling by the wayside a little bit. But this is an opportunity for everyone to kind of retool, and that's why we're hosting these creative culture labs to assist in shifting the direction of what might have been traditional entertainment, of which Mr. Smith most definitely, sorry, Senator Smith most definitely would know about, and moving into a more modern way of how people actually consume entertainment. So I hope that answers the question, Madam President.
Senator Smith has indicated he has a second question.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The minister did allude to my background growing up in a creative household. My father being Hubert Smith Sr., who not only was an entertainer and a songwriter, but also was the president of the Musicians Union. So as of growing up in a household, understanding what entertainment meant to multiple households in Bermuda, and seeing that we've, as time has gone on, and as the minister has put it, it's modernized, but what I would say is it's phased out the opportunities for people to make money in the arts. So the problem is, what I was referring to when I asked about opportunity is, how are these creatives going to make money that allows them to continue to flourish in the arts? See, there is a difference between the passion that happens, right? There's a lot of people in Bermuda that are passionate about their art, but they have to find a way to actually pay the bills. So a lot of our artists are having to completely shift what they're doing, moving away from the part that was passionate in order to survive. So yes, it is important that we give them all of the opportunity and guidance, but if there is not going to be an economic shift that brings customers to Bermuda for these creatives, then they have to look elsewhere. Yes, it is helpful for the government to provide showcases and opportunities, but a one-off for them to be able to showcase their talent is significantly different than an ongoing ability to make money so that they can survive and continue to put their craft forward. That is the piece, that's the initiative that needs to happen. And there needs to be some plan of how we are going to provide those opportunities for our creatives so that they can choose Bermuda to be the place for them to grow and flourish, and not have to get on a plane and find another place that will give them those opportunities. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Smith. So, Senator Robinson, you have a question or comment? You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have a comment, and I think I want to also piggyback a bit off of what the minister said. And he mentioned an example about Workmen's Club, a place where some of the creatives can actually showcase their talents. And I want to say that, you know, as much as Senator Smith speaks about the fact that there appears to be no opportunities, I would say that there are many opportunities and they just need to be tapped into. And so whether or not it be the workmen's clubs, the sports clubs, the community clubs, and even the churches, this is a time now where creatives can go to these places and speak to them about teaming up and partnering with them. You know, I'm thinking, you know, summertime is coming, and most of these clubs, community centers, even churches have spaces available for persons to come and actually showcase their talents. And I think it's just a matter of partnering and tapping into what we actually have. And you will actually see that there are places and there are people that will want to gravitate to this. So I do not agree that there are not opportunities. We just have to be creative and tap into them. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Robinson. Minister, you have other questions to respond to?
Thank you. We have more questions, sorry. I'd like to answer it. I'd like to say this, and in today's society, I actually have a little bit of close connection to individuals that are currently in the entertainment industry. And I'd like to point out Pink Sand Entertainment, who have for years been putting on what's called a Made in Bermuda series. And it started many years ago, probably just before COVID, where it was on Thursday nights, one of the biggest draws of the week. And individuals would go over to White's Island. And the biggest band in the island, the Wall Street Band, I'll give them a shout out, was very happy to be part of that series and be given opportunities. And this was not a small band. I'm talking about a 12 to 15 piece band that were sold out every single Thursday. The Made in Bermuda series continued last year in multiple different locations, which was sponsored by the Department of Tourism, as well as companies like the Corporation of Hamilton. So there are opportunities. I mean, there's another band, and I can sit here and give many examples of creatives that are taking advantage of the opportunities that are given, and they are, you know, all over this island. There's one particular band that I know they're playing almost every single night. At many different locations. They have pop-ups, they have regular gigs on Saturdays, they have formal nightly dinners. So for those who want to do it, you know, we are providing these workshops, like we said, going back to the cultural labs that we've been talking about. And there is value in all forms of art, not just those that wish to sell their skills. We want to encourage those who want to make money from those talents as well. And we think we are doing that. And the Fairmont Southampton, which is going to be coming online shortly after their renovations, has made a commitment. And I'm sure that the One Bermuda Alliance know this. They've made a commitment to the advancement of arts and entertainment. So I'd just like to thank the creatives who have been part of this Creative Culture Labs. I'd like to thank the Department of Culture for doing what they can to help enhance these skills. And I look forward to attending some of these entertaining sessions, and I might even take Senator Smith with me. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, okay. No other questions or second questions, then we'll move on. Thank you, senators, and thank you, Minister Darrell. We'll move on with our agenda. And the next item is the orders of the day and the resolution into committee of the whole for further consideration of the Appropriation Act, together with the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year 2023-24. Senator Ariana Hudson, Junior Minister for Finance, it's over to you.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate resolve itself into a committee of the whole for further consideration of the Appropriation Act 2023, together with the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2023-2024.
Thank you, Senator Hudson, and I'll call on Senator Kieran Bell, the Vice President, to take the chair of the committee. Thank you.
That's good.
Oh, my tissue fell out my sleeve. Thank you.
Too fast.
Good morning. Senators, we are now in Committee of the Whole for further consideration of the Appropriation Act 2023, together with the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2023-24. The ministry under consideration is Education. The heads for debate under this ministry are Head 16, found at B127, Head 17, found at B130, and Head 41 at B147. The number of hours allotted to these heads are 3. The senator in charge is Government Leader Minister Darrell. The start time is 10:25. Senator, how do you wish to proceed?
Madam Chair, I move that the committee do now take under consideration Head 16, the Ministry of Education Headquarters, Head 17, the Department of Education, and Head 41, the Bermuda College.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will start with Head 16, the Ministry of Education Headquarters. Madam President, Madam Chair, today I'm pleased to present the budget of the Ministry of Education, which comprises the Ministry of Education Headquarters, Head 16, Department of Education, Head 17, and the Bermuda College, Head 41. Madam Chair, the 2023-24 budget for the Ministry of Education is $139,847,000, found on page B 126 of the Estimates of Revenue and Expenditure for year 23-24. This represents an increase of $4,497,000 compared to 22-23 original budget. The current account for 23-24 estimated revenue for the Ministry of Education is $258,000. The capital expenditure estimates for acquisitions and development increased from $2,270,000 to $6,085,000 in 23-24. The number of full-time equivalents for the ministry increased by 36 from 1,034 to 1,070 employees. Madam Chair, I commence the budget debate today by detailing the expenditure for the Ministry of Education Headquarters, Head 16. The mission of the ministry headquarters, which is found on page B 127, is to provide strategic leadership and policy direction for education and lifelong learning. The objectives of the ministry headquarters have outlined accordingly on the same page. Madam Chair, the commitment to educational reform and changes and transformations in the public school system continue to be the main priority. In November, we engaged the Education Reform Unit, the Project Management Office for Education Reform. The Education Reform Unit is staffed by public officers reassigned from the Department of Education and other ministries, as well as consultants, and is fully engaged in determining factors such as curriculum, education philosophy, student policy, pedagogy, and staffing training and development, with an overall aim to modernize and transition to a socially and academically progressive system to ensure wholesome, accessible, and equitable education for all children. Madam Chair, the Education Reform Unit, led by Ms. Lisa De Silva, former colleague of mine, who's an educator with over 25 years of experience, is housed within the new business unit, Education Reform, 26140, and budgeted by the ministry headquarters, and involves 26 working groups consisting of inclusivity and cultural responsiveness, school choice and admissions, school leadership, system leadership, professional learning, future workforce and capability building, learning environments, IT strategy, transportation, learning partnerships, personalized learning capability, matrix, resourcing, and budgeting. Education authority, communications and engagement, school transformation, overall curriculum and assessment frameworks, S1, SLP, S2, and S3 SLP development, S1 SLP development. Parish primary school curriculum and experience development for P1 and P7, senior school math, senior school science, graduation, certification, and assessment. Madam President, this extensive listing of working groups provides insights about the breadth of work that is required and which is being undertaken for suitable education reform. And this list also indicates the extent of the type of manpower and focused efforts that are required to transform our schools and the Bermuda public school system. Madam Chair, in September 2022, the first two S1 signature learning programs were fully executed at Cedar Bridge, offering trades, professions, science, technology, engineering, and math, and the Berkeley Institute offering health, social care, and financial insurance services. The signature school transformation teams are actively engaged and are turning their attention to the next program, which is scheduled to open in September 2024 at Sands Secondary Middle School, which means that the school will provide both middle school and signature learning programs simultaneously in that year. Madam Chair, the Education Reform Unit's team are diligently supporting the implementation of those programs, as well as developing S2 and S3 curriculum for the existing signature learning programs. In addition to implementing developmental work for school transformation teams who are actively preparing for the transition of Purvis Primary School and Francis Patton Primary to parish primary schools for Warwick and Hamilton Parish in June of '23. The unit is also assisting with the logistics of transitioning students from Clearwater Middle School and Herring Bay Primary School, both of which will close at the end of this school year. Madam Chair, the ministry is in the final stages of developing the master plan for the education reform infrastructure and development. Details for this plan will be released in the near future. Madam Chair, education reform also includes the ongoing work to establish an education authority. The legislation for the authority will be completed in the 2023 legislative year. The History and Legacy Committee will also be established to commence the scope of work for historical documentation of past and present schools throughout the island. Madam Chair, to broaden our outreach in the community, we continue to embark upon the communication plan that allows the ministry to keep our stakeholders and a general public informed, virtually utilizing social media platforms. The Ministry of Education currently hosts Education Matters, a radio program that airs every 2 weeks on Mondays on Magic 102.7. Education Connection, a weekly information and discussion talk show that airs on the government and the Ministry of Education's feedback on the CITV YouTube channels, and a weekly radio morning discussions on 3 radio stations, Power 95, Hot 107.5, and Vibe 103. Madam Chair, these programs are utilized to feed a broad range of information to the public at large about the many activities, services, and programs relating to education reform, the teacher induction program, the adult and youth libraries, the child development program, the Dame Marjorie Breen Hope Academy, and many other initiatives. Madam Chair, on page B127, you will see that the Ministry of Education headquarters has been allocated a budget of $7 million, $236,000 for the 23-24 fiscal year, with program 1601, Business Unit 26,000, General Administration. $815,000 will support the operational and administrative functions of the ministry. Last year, the business unit included funds for consultants for education reform. However, a separate business unit, 26,140, is established for education reform. Madam Chair, under Program 1601, Business Unit 26,140, Education Reform Unit, $4,412,000. Operational expenses for Education Reform Unit, which included $675,200 for general office operations and supplies, and $815,000 for the continuance of Learning First program, and approximately $2.92 million for consultants for media and other professional support services for meetings and events, and professional technical services required for systems and school building infrastructure changes that form part of education reform. Of the $2.92 million, $898,331 is set aside for innovative unit consultant contract and additional funding for anticipated consultancy for the next phase of reform process. Madam Chair, under Program 1601, Business Unit 2680, 26080, $630,000 has been budgeted for external grants and the Bermuda College Promise Merit Award Program, a minor increase of $22,000 over 22-23. Madam Chair, in awarding grants to external agencies, the ministry will continue to support programs and services which directly help students improve their academic, social, and behavior skills to achieve success. Madam Chair, of the $630,000, $450,000 has been set aside to fund merit-based college promise program. These funds are awarded to public school graduates with a GPA of 3.0 or higher to allow them to attend Bermuda College tuition-free. Madam Chair, $1,379,000 has been set aside in Business Unit 26090 for the administration of the ministry's annual scholarship and awards program. The ministry will continue to support students in their pursuit of tertiary level education. The reduction of $36,000 is directly related to a one-time grant, $17,000 for the guard railing of teaching standards, and the balance was repurposed for travel for education reform purposes. Madam Chair, last year, the ministry received a total of 452 student application submissions. This reflected a decrease of 65 applications compared to the 517 received last year. The last fiscal year, the Ministry of Education distributed 64 awards in total: 2 Bermuda Government Scholarships, 2 non-traditional student awards, and 49 further education awards. The Minister's awards comprised of the Minister's Achievement Scholarship, 1 Applied Science Scholarship, 1 Exceptional Student Award, and 1 Technical and Vocational Award, and 6 Bermuda College Book Awards. Madam Chair, these awards enable students to obtain the education they may not have access to otherwise. Madam Chair, on B128, the subjective analysis of current account estimates are shown for the Ministry of Education headquarters. Line 1, salary stand at $618,000 and show a minimal decrease of $2,000 when compared to 22-23. Travel expenditure line of $48,000 increased by $24,000, while expenditure for grants contributions decreased by $13,000. The full breakdown of $1,975,000 budgeted for grants and contributions can be found on page C18 of the budget book. Madam Chair, the increase in travel expenditure reflects monies budgeted for the annual UK Education World Forum overseas meetings that have been skipped over for the past few years due to COVID restrictions. The increase of $53,000 for materials and supplies is directly related to operations of the new Education Reform Unit. Madam Chair, $4 million has been budgeted for professional services. This reflects a significant increase of $1,394,000. These additional monies have been allocated to the continued consultancy work for education reform. Madam Chair, page B128, the number of full-time equivalents or employees in the Ministry of Education headquarters remained the same as last year at 6 full-time employees. Madam Chair, finally on page B129, the performance measures for the Ministry of Headquarters are outlined. The targeted outcomes for last year were either achieved or in the process of being completed by the end of March this year. I point out that under target outcomes of 23-24, it is published that 1 additional signature program would be introduced in 2023. This, Madam Chair, is incorrect. The information for output measures was submitted before the decision was made to open the 3rd signature program in 2024 instead of 2023. Madam Chair, the ministry team comprises of the permanent secretary, a policy analyst, the ministry controller, the scholarships and awards program manager, a relief policy analyst, the administrative assistant, accounts officer, and the executive assistant to the minister and permanent secretary. Madam Chair, each team member has contributed to the success of the ministry's work programs, and I extend a sincere thanks to the ministry headquarters team and education reform unit and working groups for their continued support and diligence. Thank you, Madam Chair. This concludes my presentation for the budget for the Ministry of Education headquarters. Give me one moment, Madam Chair. Certainly. Madam Chair, I now present the budget head for Head 17, the budget for Head 17, the Department of Education. Madam Chair, it was 3 years ago today, well, not today, but it was 3 years ago on the 13th of March, 2020, that the Royal Gazette published an article stating that the international organization, Innovative Unit Australia, New Zealand, had been selected to help rebuild the Bermuda public education system. Madam Chair, that article also included the statement Innovation Unit had emphasized that Bermudians are the guardians of the vision for the Bermuda public school system. Madam Chair, that remains true today. Madam Chair, 3 years ago, the Minister of Education underscored that we as Bermudians will take ownership of transforming our public school system, and that Bermudians will design our transformed education system via consultation with stakeholder groups, that we can create a system that is right for Bermuda and not something that has just been transplanted from somewhere else. Madam Chair, the work that has been carried out over the past 3 years has remained true to what was started 3 years ago. Madam Chair, over the past 3 years, the Ministry of Education has continued to consult and engage students, parents, young people, school staff, school leaders, community and business partners, Department of Education officers, as well as government departments. Madam Chair, they have also committed to progressing with education reform in phases. This allows us to learn from the previous phase as we continue to reform our public education system. All of Bermuda can be encouraged by this course of development as we head into parish primary school phase of reform. The establishment of Education Reform Unit, as discussed in the budget brief for Head 16 previously, and the full support from the Commissioner and her team at the Department of Education has been key to the progress of education reform agenda. Madam Chair, as the ministry has engaged the work of education reform, they have remained true to the vision of education for our students as outlined in page B 130. All students are educated to lead personally and professionally, contribute locally, and compete globally. Madam Chair, now in our third year of education reform, the ministry is confident that the work that is being undertaken by its staff, community members, and change partners will enable us to achieve the department's objectives outlined in B 130. Increase academic rigor and student engagement, ensure career, college, and workforce readiness, enhance the quality of teacher practice and system leadership, improve the infrastructure and instructional resources, and ensure system success. Madam Chair, B 133 shows that a total of $114,872,000 has been allocated to the Department of Education for fiscal year 23-24. Madam Chair, it is $2,544,000 more than the 22-23 fiscal year. The main contributing factor for this increase is the need to fund education reform activities, such as $1,659,000 for the new Paget Primary Schools at Francis Patton and Purvis Primary for September 2023, and $864,000 to bolster the substitute budget. Program 1701, Central Administration. Madam Chair, I begin with the analysis on Central Administration, which can be found on B 131. Madam Chair, monies budgeted for the upcoming year for Business Unit 27,000 General Administration will cover the cost for inventory purchases for educational and office supplies for the school year. Madam Chair, a minor decrease of $23,000 budgeted in expenditure for the fiscal year 23-24 due to a reduction in COVID-19 related expenses. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27-1 holds the budget for the Office of the Commissioner and primarily funds the salaries of the Commissioner of Education and two direct reports, the Director of Academics and the Director of Education Standards and Accountability. The Commissioner of Education and direct reports are responsible for strategic planning, leading, overseeing, monitoring, and auditing staff work, and holding staff at the department and schools accountable for carrying out their duties and responsibilities. Madam Chair, this year, a a total of $398,000. This represents a significant decrease from last year by $631,000. This decrease represents a reallocation of funding for education reform to the newly reformed unit and expenditure efficiencies. Madam Chair, this ELT, known as the Executive Leadership Team, supports the work of the education reform where necessary. Madam Chair, last year, the Education Leadership Team contributed to reform efforts by participating in status update meetings with the ministry's change partners, reviewing and providing feedback on design briefs and documents developed by school and system transformation teams, providing feedback for the stage gate reforms, participating in system conditions, working groups, and supporting school transformation teams and other working groups. One director was reassigned to serve as chair of the governance team, while simultaneously serving as a member of the Learning First program from its inception until there was a restructuring of the governance team and Learning First program. Madam Chair, last school year, through the then Learning First program, there were 2 transformation teams in place, with numerous working groups who dedicated their efforts to preparing for the opening of the first signature learning programs at the Berkeley Institute and Cedar Bridge Academy. Madam Chair, last year, senior officers also served as members of one of the 6 system conditions transformational teams, working to create the enabling conditions for school success and to sustain the outputs of education reform. These teams were graduation and credentialing, curriculum, teaching and learning, partnership with industry and community, partners as educators, and professional learning. Madam Chair, Department of Education officers contributed to the co-development of materials and support system, wide adoption of a new framework, Bermuda's model for deep learning, to guide and support teaching and learning in signature learning programs. Madam Chair, officers also assisted with the development of an assessment policy and helped finalize the implementation of the process for forming and developing effective learning partnerships for signature learning programs with business, community, and research organizations with government departments. Madam Chair, other Department of Education officers worked with the ministry's chain partners, Innovation Unit, and select school leaders and staff to co-create the resources and processes required to recruit, credential, and support teachers to deliver signature learning programs, to develop a new advisory curriculum, as well as statements and criteria that guided the work of all teams. Madam Chair, officers also contributed to developing new graduation requirements for the current S1 students, finalizing and implementing a learner profile, and developing the rubric and procedures for the learner portfolio, a key element in new graduation requirements. Madam Chair, for the 22-23 academic year, 5 school transformation teams are in place, in addition to numerous other working groups which carry out the work, progress, transformation, and redesign of the Bermuda public school system for Bermuda's children. There will also be system condition teams in place. Madam Chair, the 5 school transformation teams include teams for the Berkeley Institute, Cedar Bridge Academy, Francis Patton Primary, Purvis Primary, the new signature school for hospitality, tourism, education services that will open in Sands Secondary Middle School site in September of 2024. Madam Chair, additionally, there are many department and school staff serving over 20 working groups of other staff carrying out work in support of these school transformation teams, system conditions teams, and working groups. Madam Chair, the Office of the Commissioner also funds a communications consultant. The department has developed a comprehensive framework for systematic, interactive, and authentic communication and engagement. At the heart of this framework is the strategic communication plan underpinned by research and evaluation. Madam Chair, school communities will be invited to support the department's communications priorities, objectives, while developing strategic communication plans for their needs. Madam Chair, some elements of the framework are already in place, and a series of workshops this academic year will build capacity and to orient school leaders and key personnel for framework before full implementation. Madam Chair, the department continues to maintain 3 newsletters to keep our stakeholders informed: The Scoop, BPS Matters, and The Link Express. Madam Chair, a total of 97 newsletters were sent out for 21-22, and the newsletter audiences are given the opportunity to communicate directly with the Commissioner's Office through mini surveys and a link to the BPSS family feedback. A 4th newsletter to be added this academic year is Best Practice, a vehicle for teacher leaders. Madam Chair, the Bermuda Public School System family feedback form remains open for stakeholders 24/7, including members of the general public, to submit questions, comments, suggestions, and complaints. Over the last year, there have been 72 such submissions, down considerably from the inaugural year. The department also developed a social media program. A new social media takeover program has met considerable success and is now in its 2nd term of implementation. Each school has an opportunity to celebrate their staff, their students, and programs, or school at least twice a term on the distinct Facebook and Instagram pages. Madam Chair, the communications consultant is a member of the Education Reform and Engagement Working Group to ensure the Department of Education Reform work is coordinated and aligned with the messaging sent out by the Department of Education to parents and staff. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27030, Human Resources, has been allocated a total of $715,000 to fund the salaries of technical and administrative staff, expenses to advertise, to recruit staff, and monies for annual long service awards to teachers. There's an increase of $215,000 over the fiscal year due to an increase in cost of long-serving awards. Madam Chair, 23-24 funding for Business Unit 2731, staff development, decreased minimally from the previous year's budget to $672,000. These funds will be used to fund training and professional learning to enhance the skills and competencies of our teachers, education staff, school leaders, and Department of Education staff. Madam Chair, the department's educators have been engaged in professional learning, focused on changes that have come about as a result of education reform. In June 22, in preparation for the school year, our pre-primary and middle schools, Dame and Success Academies, Robert Avenue, participated in professional learning activities that afforded them the opportunity to take a deep dive into high-impact teaching strategies, the BPSS Legit model, the BPS Legit lesson planning, and the BPSS Legit action learning framework. Madam Chair, school principals also engage staff around these practices throughout the year on designated site-based professional learning days. Madam Chair, coordinated by the education reform teams, the innovative unit for the school transformation teams for Francis Patton Primary, Purvis Primary, and the Signature School for Hospitality and Tourism and Educational Services participated in the following learning activities in June 22. Design mindsets, user research and introduction synthesis, insight generation, case for change, vision for learning, mapping existing practice, curriculum and assessment, technology, time and space, culture relationships, and professional learning, educators of the future. Madam Chair, in June 22, amongst other activities, senior schools, which were doing the final preparations for the opening of the signature school learning programs at Berkeley and Cedar Ridge, participated in pacing guides, layering appropriate assessment, and identifying experimental opportunities across S1. Madam Chair, it is also important to note that the process of school redesign is structured so that staff who are members of the school transformation team and working groups learn, grow, and develop as a result of the professional learning activities work that's carried out. Madam Chair, the learning and development of capabilities is incorporated into the structured school redesign process. Madam Chair, there have also been system-wide professional learning activities focused on the Cambridge curriculum, subject-based professional learning on on-core subjects of personalized professional learning and student services staff. Madam Chair, a workshop was held in October 21 with Yetban Har, one of the world's leading experts on professional development for teachers in Singapore mathematics, and again in October 2022. Madam Chair, a math teacher certification program was also launched this school year, with professional learning program for teachers across our primary and middle schools. Madam Chair, substitute teachers also participate in the site-based and system-wide professional development activities throughout the year, in addition to participating in onboarding and orientation session at the start of the school year. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27090, Educational Standards and Accountability, has oversight for 18 primary schools, 4 middle schools, 2 secondary schools, and 1 special school. This team comprises of 3 assistant directors who supervise school principals to ensure effective leadership. Educational standards and accountability work is essential for growth in the development of school leaders for school improvement. Madam Chair, over the past year, the ESA assistant directors continue to support school principals. Madam Chair, following several iterations of the blueprint designs of school transformation teams are progressing towards implementation of parish primary schools. During this phase, school transformation teams will focus on considerations for the logistical components such as staffing, training, equipment, and curriculum. Also included in this phase of transformative process are stage gate reviews. During the stage gate reviews, school transformation teams present prototypes for their blueprint statements to Education Reform, Governance Committee, ethical, legal, political, fiscal, and regulatory processes needed to be taken into consideration, addressed to stress test the desirability and feasibility and viability of blueprints. Madam Chair, the school transformation teams are still in this phase of transformation process. Madam Chair, since 2021, the budget for Business Unit 27095 attendance was transferred to Business Unit 27090 to fund the salaries of 4 school attendance officers and registration coordinator. Madam President, the funds allocated to Business Unit 27090 is $645,000, with a small increase of $2,000 over the year's budget. Madam Chair, substitute teachers ensure the continuity of teaching, learning, and service programs when teachers or other school staff are sick or on leave. A total of $3,640 has been allocated for Business Unit 27160 substitutes. This is an increase by $864,000 to cover the cost of substitutes, including the provision of all allocated subs for all school levels. Substitute teachers engaged in the work of education reform, and substitutes are assigned for teacher absences throughout the year. Madam Chair, the overall budget for central administration is $6,743,000 for the 23-24 fiscal year, which is $407,000 higher than previous year's budget, primarily due to the increase in funding for substitutes. Madam President, Program 1702, Student Services, facilitates the provision of 13 essential programs that are directly provide services to meet the diverse needs of students who have been identified as having exceptionalities or special needs. Business 27061 is behavior management funds. It funds behavior therapists for preschools and primary schools, as well as 1 education officer for behavior management. In addition, the funding covers our 2 alternative education programs, which facilitate suitable alternative education environments and services for students with behavioral challenges. Business unit for 23-24 budget is $1,292,000. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27062, funds the operational cost of Success Academies, Roberts Avenue. These costs include the cost of training and rental equipment, such as photocopiers, printers, office, and education supplies. Madam President, Business Unit 27063 includes our school psychologists to address the needs of students in areas of academics, behavior, and mental health. Madam Chair, school psychologists are engaged in a valuable resource for schools in relation to the MTSS process, a system priority. MTSS is multi-tiered system of support. Madam Chair, through the MTSS process, a school-based disciplinary team meets weekly or bi-monthly to discuss the needs of students and to provide interventions and resources to address concerns. Madam Chair, I'm pleased to report that as of September 22, the department has a full complement of school psychologists. Madam Chair, I'm also pleased to report that our school psychologists have integrated technology into their assessments through the use of Q interactive software, which is enabling them to conduct assessments in a more efficient and effective manner. Madam Chair, the new fiscal year, school psychologists will continue to manage their assessment referrals and provide consultation to school staff to ensure delivery of service before and after these assessments. Madam Chair, in 2023-24 budget, Business Unit 27063, school psychologist is $930,000 with a minimal decrease from last year. Madam Chair, $304,000 is budgeted for Business Unit 27064, adapted physical education. Adapted PE program is for developmentally appropriate physical education program, which provides students with IEPs with physical education services to meet their unique needs. 3 specialist male teachers delivered the adaptive PE for the Bermuda public school system. These teachers provide services with students with diverse physical needs by providing adaptive support necessary to enable students to be included in their respective schools' regular PE program. Madam Chair, this specialist team also organizes the annual department's Educational Adaptive PE National Track and Field Invitational. This invitational includes students from primary 1 to senior 4 who have special physical needs and receive adaptive PE services, as well as former students who have transitioned out of the public school system and are presently at the K. Margaret Center and other facilities. Madam Chair, feedback from this event is being reinstated in 21-22 was very positive. So basically it came back. And we now revert to holding this event annually with COVID restrictions now removed. Madam Chair, $289,000 is budgeted for Business Unit 27065, the Deaf and Hard of Hearing program, which employs special teachers who provide students with academic instruction. These teachers collaborate with classroom teachers to ensure that teaching and learning is effective and that students' needs are being met. The money is budgeted for this business unit are for salaries, resources and materials, hearing aids, equipment and professional development, and consultant audiology services. Madam Chair, teachers of the deaf and hard of hearing are preparing for the expansion of the teaching of sign language at the middle and school levels. The teachers also designated time to collaborate with paraprofessionals before and after sessions and are held with students with the aim of educating administrative staff on specific needs of persons who are deaf or hard of hearing. Madam Chair, the Vision Business Unit 27066 has been allocated a budget of $106,000. Students with visual impairments have unique educational needs. In order to meet their unique needs, students must have specialized services, books, and materials, and appropriate media, including Braille, as well as specialized equipment and technology to ensure equal access to core and specialized curricula, and to enable them to function and compete with their peers in schools most effectively and ultimately in society. Madam Chair, students maintain a garden and share the produce with school staff and neighbors. In addition, one student completed a job shadowing program at Port Royal, which led to subsequent summer employment at Ocean View. Madam Chair, the department's teacher of the visually impaired is also assisting with development of Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy's community support program. Madam President, Business Unit 27071, Office Support, has been allocated a budget of $641,000. This business unit serves as a secretariat for the Student Services section of the funds and salaries of the Assistant Director of Student Services, 2 administrative assistants, and 4 learning support teachers. Madam Chair, the counseling program, Business Unit 27072, is comprehensive development school counseling program based on international model of 4 components: classroom guidance, core curriculum, individual planning, responsive services, and system support. The comprehensive developmental school counseling program has been an integral part to play in supporting students' academic, personal, social, emotional, and career success with a focus on providing and supporting a myriad of protective factors for all students and coordinating services with other school professionals and community service providers. Madam Chair, research has supported that the position that transforms school counseling programs are preventative, developmental, and integrated within the school's education mission and led by school counselors who utilize their many talents and skills. Madam Chair, business unit that funds the salary of education officer for counseling, 16 school counselors who provide pre and primary school students, 9 school counselors who provide middle school, and 1 alternative school counselor. Madam Chair, $3,037,000 has been budgeted for this business unit. Madam Chair, Business Unit 227074, Learning Support, funds 3 education officers for special education and learning support, in addition to 37 learning support teachers who provide special education services at the department's preschool, primary, and middle schools, Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy, and our 4 trauma responsive programs at our primary and middle senior success academies. This funding is also includes assessment materials to ensure appropriate diagnosis of students with special education needs. Madam Chair, professional development has continued to ensure that the school team process is in alignment with the response to the intervention process of RTI component of multi-tiered system of support framework. Madam Chair, learning support teachers have provided with ongoing professional training on the school team process. Madam Chair, ongoing professional development has also continued for paraeducators on how to support students' learning, behavioral, and personal goals. Under the guidance of the Curriculum and Assessment Division, education officers completed all access arrangements and exemption requests for schools that were required for administering the Cambridge Checkpoint assessment exams. Access arrangements may include the provision of more time for students to take exams who, for example, have dyslexia or ADHD. Madam Chair, the business unit increased $23,000, much needed for learning support services. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27076, Early Childhood Education has been allocated $114,000 and reflects the funding for the salary of the education officer for early childhood education. Madam Chair, the budget for Business Unit 27079, paraprofessionals increased by $54,000 with a budget allocation of $7,642,000. This business unit provides for the delivery of paraprofessional and educational therapist assistance for students with diverse learning needs. Madam Chair, the Business Unit 27083, Autism Spectrum Disorder, $681,000 to fund salaries for teachers of those paraprofessionals who serve students with autism within the ASD program at 3 primary schools, 1 middle school, and 1 senior school. Madam Chair, current projections indicate we will need to increase the ASD offerings over the next few years at the primary level. In the past couple of years, we've had students who have participated in blended programs where they join their peers in identified classes with the intention of transitioning them into the general education class with and without support. During 22-23 school year, 5 students are participating in such programs. As our need for additional ASD classes increases, we will need to consider and create additional functional skill classes at the primary level. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27084, Alternative Education, funds the Success Academy at the Alternative Program for middle and senior level students. Currently, Success Academy's Robert Avenue services 5 students, 3 senior students, and 2 middle school students with the goal of assisting them in acquiring replacement behaviors which will lead to reintegration back into the mainstream middle school environment, transition to senior school or GED preparation, and Penn Foster programming. Madam Chair, short-term respite support for middle school students remains in place. There has been some recent requests for placement of students on out-of-school suspension to attend Success Academy. A separate program inclusive of location and operational costs is being explored to address these specific needs. Madam Chair, the business unit also funds students who are alternative education programs across the island. There are currently 8 students in alternative placements. Impact Academy has 1 male. Christian Lighthouse Academy has 1 male. And the Learning Center has 2 females and 4 males. Madam Chair, the Adult Education School has just begun the resumption of services. We have 2 males slated to attend and another 2 students awaiting placement. This will take the alternative placement population to 12 students, 10 males, 2 females. Madam Chair, educational therapists, support therapists, assistant, and other members of the multi-tier system of support, MTSS, school teams continue to provide tier 1, 2, and 3 support for students who have behavior challenges. This support is daily tracking, developing individual crisis management plans, implementing behavior intervention strategies, and developing functional behavior plans and behavior intervention plans. Unfortunately, tier 3 behaviors at the primary level continue to be on the increase. Madam Chair, we are pleased that the partnerships have been strengthened to such agencies like the Department of Child and Family Services, the Child and Adolescent Services, that's DCFS and CAS, as commonly known, probation services, and the Department of Health. One example of this is reflected in monthly meetings of the High Risk Intervention Committee, where mutual clients and their specific unique needs are discussed and support is action. We continue to work with the educational therapists at CAS, which has helped bring the gap within the community of services we need to provide students. Madam Chair, ETs and ETAs have continued incorporating the functional behavior assessments and behavior intervention plans, specialist training to produce these plans across all levels. These are created for all tier 3 students and are presently 33 students who require tier 3 support. Madam Chair, for 23-24, the educational therapists and educational therapist assistants will increase the level of support they provide to classroom teachers and will work on improving the planning and monitoring of student progress. Madam Chair, Kickboard was piloted in 8 school environments. Kickboard is a total end-to-end behavior solution that helps districts and schools drive climate and culture initiatives. It enables educators to input and analyze the full range of student behaviors and interactions real time. Madam Chair, the Student Services section provides an extensive range of educational services for students with exceptionalities. The total budget allocation for this program 1702 for the 23-24 fiscal year is $20,660,000. Madam Chair, continuing to page B131, Finance and Corporate Services, 27002, Funds Staff in the Finance Administration section within the budget of $762,000. This team includes a department controller, trainee development controller, financial services manager, a payment supervisor, a salary supervisor, a salaries clerk, 3 accounts clerks, and a messenger. This section is responsible for providing financial advice to senior management, cost-effective, responsive financial services, procurement and contracting services, and corporate planning solutions to management, employees, and schools. Under the direction of the department's controller, the team coordinates the payment of salaries to over 1,000 educators, and department staff pays supplies, vendors for goods, and purchases of receivables. During this past year, the controller has contributed to efforts of the education reform by providing financial reports for the Education Reform Unit, Budgeting and Resourcing Working Group. Madam Chair, Office Accommodation Business Unit 27003 has a budget of $1,080,000 that funds the salary of office receptionist, covers costs for the annual rent, office maintenance, electricity, and communication costs for the department's physical offices on Church Street. Additional funding of $127,000 has been provided for office spaces for the IT facilities, student services teams to be located together. Business Unit 27040, Educational Stores, was allocated a budget of $720,000, which supports salaries of 6 staff and other expenditures such as rent, inventory, freight costs, gas, and diesel. The steward section provides centralized purchasing, inventory management, and distribution services to all public schools, Bermuda College, and other government departments such as the Department of Youth, Sport, and Recreation. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27041, School Transport, is allocated a budget of $438,000 and funds the salaries of 3 bus drivers, a bus attendant, and transport student who attend Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy, for students in the ASD programs, and for other schools, 2 groundsmen who maintain school sports fields, and 1 labor transport and safety officer were also funded from this budget. This budget enables transport services for our most vulnerable population of children. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27042, Building, Grounds, and Equipment is budgeted at $1,334,000, a decrease of $139,000. These funds enable the facilities manager to provide planned, preventive, and daily maintenance to all public school buildings, grounds, and equipment, ensuring a healthy, safe, and learning environment. This includes the monthly maintenance of all life safety equipment, fire alarm, elevator inspections, burglar alarm systems, drinking water, water tank cleaning, and many other services. Additionally, this budget funds manned security services at all middle schools for the safety of students and staff. Madam Chair, funding for 23-24 will be used for Francis Patton Primary School and Purvis Primary to open in 2023. Dedicated work has been carried out for education reform and continue to be carried out in advance of our education reform agenda for the learning for children. Enhancements of the Department of Education school infrastructure, removal of asbestos, vinyl flooring upgraded with environmentally friendly non-wax, non-skid flooring. Enhancements to the Department of Education bell systems, removal of analog systems upgraded to digital systems with battery backup, program for school breaks, and automatic changeover as it relates to daylight savings. Enhanced Department of Education school air conditioner systems, installation of ultraviolet lights that kill mold spores, viruses, and bacteria and fungus. Playground upgrades, installation of 2 American Disabilities Act compliant playgrounds, ensuring equal access and benefit for all students. Fire alarm upgrades, replacing non-addressable systems with fully addressable system to allow the department to monitor and access emergencies efficiently and the ability to identify the precise location of any and all alarms. Security camera upgrades, installation of LED infrared candle cameras systems that give us the ability to monitor our schools 24/7, day and night. All events can now be stored in case of malicious events, allowing data to be retrieved by law enforcement on request. Madam Chair, the budget priorities for this business unit 23-24, including all maintenance tasks with Francis Patton and Purvis Primary, are carried out in desired timelines, ensuring fertility staff continue to train at the Bermuda College and supporting all team members with enrolling, participating, and supplementing with requirements that relate to safety and healthy, environmentally safe cleaning products. Addressing all health and safety requests as a matter of priority, carrying out cleanliness and inspections throughout all public schools to have schools consistently maintain a high level of cleanliness throughout the school year. Madam Chair, the final business unit 27050, Information Technology, is funded for $2,603,000. This business unit funds the salaries of an IT manager, computer service officer, a management systems officer, a technical and assistant technical officers. Madam Chair, the Department of Education IT section is accountable for the defining and delivering the IT strategy and capabilities of the Ministry of Education, the Department of Education, and the Bermuda Public School System. Madam Chair, the IT section is responsible for providing the following IT services: design, plan, implement, and maintain the computing infrastructure, supporting education initiatives, student learning and instruction, and business applications, metrics for managing IT effectiveness, ensuring service levels and operational processes are in place to meet key performance, maintaining oversight on all IT projects, comprehensive enterprise information, enterprise-wide disaster recovery, enforcing IT policies and procedures, and reviewing, recommending, and overseeing all vendors and managing serving agreements for telecommunications, IT services, and equipment. Madam Chair, the IT section achieved the following last fiscal year: Chromebooks, enhancements to the telephone system, data center service environment, Wi-Fi enhancements in preschools, primary schools, and middle schools, laptop configured and distributed to Bermuda Public School System user communities, signature learning program application implementation, the implementation of enhanced IT security services and IT security awareness training, and the implementation of online services. Madam Chair, the IT priorities for 2023-24 include IT support for education reform unit, parish primary schools, and signature learning programs, start of the transformation of the IT support personnel from break fix to providing education solution support, continuing to distribute Chromebooks to students and laptops, mature the IT operation processes, mature the use of configuration of power school system, upgrade of the data center switching platform, upgrade of the remote access services, and the implementation of the enterprise backup solution. Madam Chair, in summary, the finance and corporate section provides key services and support the public schools has been allocated $6,937,000 for the 23-24 fiscal year. Madam Chair, I now turn to page B132 in line item 1704, which is the program of our 10 preschools. In 23-24, the budget for all preschools is $4,751,000, and 93% of the preschool budget is fund salaries. 7% of the budget are used for resources and training and development, operational costs such as electricity, part-time cleaners, phones, office equipment, rental, and drinking water. Madam Chair, the cohort of preschool students has lived more of their life in COVID-19 pandemic world with many regulations and restrictions that they would not have if it was not for the pandemic. Much of the focus of preschoolers entering this year has been on socio-emotional development and the self-regulation now that they are free to play with others and engage in group learning. Preschool leaders and teachers have been working to recreate the inquiry learning environments and learning experiences. Preschoolers learn through investigation and exploration, facilitated by studying various topics. Teachers also balance student-led learning and teacher-facilitated learning with the intentional teaching in math, literacy, and language. Teachers observe student progress and document the progress across a continuum which is appropriate for their stage of age development. Primary schools. Madam Chair, continue on B132, program 1705. Primary schools has a budget allocation of $29,692,000 allocated for the operational costs of the department's 18 primary schools. Madam Chair, the increase of $1.5 million over the previous year is due to an anticipated increase in Francis Patton, $918,000, and Purvitt schools, which is $741,000, which will open this September as a parish primary schools. Madam Chair, I'd like to thank and commend the co-leads of all the school transformation teams for Francis Patton Primary and Purvis Primary, for the Department of Education officers, Education Reform Unit staff for their hard work in preparing for the opening of these two parish primary schools in September of this year. Special schools, continuing, Madam Chair, on to B132, program 1706, Business Unit 27120. Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy provides dedicated services for students who have severe to profound multiple challenges and therefore special needs. The main focus of this program at Dame is to provide students with enriching education and development support to increase student independence and to help them achieve their ultimate potential. Madam Chair, total of $659,000 has been allocated for DAME, an increase of $42,000 over the last fiscal year. Madam Chair, we now turn to page B133, Program 1707 for middle schools, a total of the total 23-24 budget allocation for the operation of our 4 middle schools is $14,838,000, with a minor increase of $140,000. Madam Chair, continuing on page B133, Program 1708 refers to our senior secondary schools, the Barclay Institute and Cedar Bridge Academy. Madam Chair, each senior school is provided with an annual grant for the operation management of their respective school and school curriculum. For this fiscal year, the Cedar Bridge Academy funding increased by $287,000, and the budget for Barclay Institute remains the same. Madam Chair, students at the senior level continue to benefit from diverse local and international curricula and programs which prepare them for post-secondary education, training, and careers. Students also have the opportunity to take advanced level courses and participate in dual enrollment programs at the Bermuda College. Madam Chair, I pause to commend and applaud the boards and teachers of the school transformation teams of the Barclay Institute and Cedar Bridge Academy for their commitment to and dedication efforts to ensure the opening of the first senior schools with signature learning program. Madam Chair, the signature learning pathways include the Barclay Institute Health and Social Care, Financial and Insurance Services. Cedar Bridge includes Animal Vet Science, Computer Science, and Technologies, as well as Trades and Professionals. Madam Chair, staying on page B133, Program 1709, Curriculum Assessments, funds the Cambridge International Curriculum City and Guilds Penn Foster system-wide reading assessment, the career pathways, dual enrollment, and all curricular resource deliverables. The Department of Education pays an annual fee to Cambridge International for the curriculum and for primary 6 and middle 3 students to sit the annual checkpoint diagnostic assessment, along with the International General Certificate or the IGCSE examinations required to obtain the Bermuda School Diploma. Madam Chair, we are now in our 10th year administering Cambridge assessments and examinations. All Cambridge assessments inclusive of reading assessment are funded from Business Unit 27020, Assessment and Evaluation. The allocated budget for the continued effective delivery of assessment and evaluation is the sum total of $350,000. Madam Chair, curriculum resources, professional development training for math interventions, language arts, science, social studies, foreign language, the arts, ICT, and physical education and health curricular deliverables are funded from Business Unit 27520. Madam Chair, the Education Officer Foreign Languages laid the groundwork for presenting foreign languages to preschools this year. An online platform called Little Pim was selected, and the teaching has started by teachers in 3 preschools, Warwick, Southampton, and Lagoon Park. Students will be exposed to 2 languages, Spanish and Portuguese. The Foreign Language Officer is also working with the curriculum team for P1 and P7 for the parish primary schools. This entails attending the weekly meetings of both Francis Patton and Parish primary schools, assisting with feedback and suggestions. Madam Chair, the Acting Education Officer for the Arts will continue with STEM and the Educational Services Signature Learning Program, while developing well-articulated fine arts pathways that are culturally relevant and practically meaningful. A key priority for the arts will be continue to enhancing teacher practice and system leadership through the content-specific professional learning opportunities, community partnerships, and contracted curriculum leader positions for Music and Visual Arts. The Acting Educational Officer for Information Computer Technology has developed and delivered our organized schools with Schoology learning management system, professional development for P1 and senior schools teachers. Also, the Acting Education Officer is a member of Francis Patton Primary School Transformation Team, which meets bi-weekly and work design on prototyping and to the Long Tail Academy. This prototyping provides opportunities for teachers and students to experience additional support in reading, math, and arts sporting activities. The Education Officer for Math has ensured that all primary to senior schools have access to the Method Math site. In September 2022, five primary schools, 3 middle schools, and 2 senior schools were given access to My Maths for pilot program. The rationale behind is that My Maths uses the new Cambridge curriculum and embeds math mastery approach in its teaching. Madam Chair, the Education Office of Reading is working with the schools to implement a variety of reading programs. Madam President, the implementation of access to online platforms, the RAS Plus and Vocabulary A to Z for all primary school students in the Bermuda public school system is an intervention tool in middle school. Madam Chair, the Education Officer for Physical Education and Health has provided the following professional development for teachers: interactive health system fitness assessment, the Spark Physical Education System app, 2-day cricket workshop for all PE teachers, run in conjunction with the BCB, 2-day golf workshop for all PE teachers in conjunction with the Bermuda Golf Association, adaptive PE awareness, and the assessment of physical education. Madam President, the PE initiatives that are underway are pilot for Spark, pilot program using heart rate monitors. Spirit System is a fitness assessment and the digital curriculum for Health Smart and Spark curriculum. The Education Officer for Social Studies introduced a project-based learning initiative for 2 teacher certification cohorts. This officer also assisted primary 2 teachers with meeting the needs of students who transition from P1 classrooms using the following initiatives: summer research for primary 2 unit construction, delivered professional development to relevant primary 2 teachers, and organized early years resources. The Education for Social Studies also contributed to education reform by helping develop the curriculum for the signature learning programs. Business Unit 27524, Madam Chair, College and Career Pathways has been budgeted with $434,000. Madam President, this business unit funds the employability skill program of the nursing certification, the dual enrollment program at the Bermuda College. This course center is funded to cover the course of leadership management of 2 college and career pathway officers. Madam Chair, 23-24 will be supporting the student services with alternative education path for the first girls college and career pathways. The Education Officer for Certification and College and Career Pathways has reported the graduation rate for 21 to 22 academic school year was 91%. Additionally, 9 students completed and received Penn Foster High School diploma at the end of 21-22 school year. And 9 of the 12 enrollment of the nursing assistant program at Bermuda College achieved the nursing assistant certificate. 93% or 212 students out of the 299 who registered for the City and Guilds employability skills passed the class. Madam Chair, page B133, this section includes early childhood education. Early childhood special education and early childhood education of quality assurance. The main focus is to continue transformation of early childhood education through close alignment with developmentally appropriate practices and inquiry-based learning. Madam Chair, when considering the transformation of the learning experience in P1, school redesign has led to one of the school's prototyping class hubs. These hubs support the ethos of joyful learning, and my son would love that, through meetings, students, where they are development learning. This approach in early education reduces stress on students and gives teachers permission to think critically and creatively in regard to planning and facilitating learning. Personalized learning experience will result in building strong foundations and minimizing gaps across P1 to P3 of learning development. Progress is measured based on learners meeting objective-based continuum. In this way, teachers and schools account for a year's worth of learning and a year's worth of schooling. Madam Chair, special education in the form of early intervention has focused on providing learning support and other services identified through MTSS for pre and primary school. The education officer working in this section has been coaching preschool teacher leaders in using CK, or socio-emotional engagement, knowledge and skills. The teacher-to-teacher coaching model supports teachers in coaching fellow teachers and meeting the preschooler needs. Madam Chair, the outcomes are outstanding, and we are seeing preschoolers mainstreamed after one term in Glowing Connections class. Preschooler gains are attributed to class size, teacher training, expertise, and para support. Madam Chair, given the transformation in early childhood education, the department is pleased to have added a quality assurance officer to firstly ensure that the safety and health certifications are maintained in all preschools. Secondly, to ensure best practices across the ECE beyond safety and health, especially as it relates to COVID-19 protocols. Foundational to inquiry education is the learning environment, often referred to as the third as the third teacher. Preschools have been working to the learning environment to reflect the inquiry model. Hence, quality assurance officer has been working with preschools to ensure that the learning environment is inclusive of indoor and outdoor learning spaces. Madam Chair, Early Childhood Education has launched the Basics Learning Network in partnership with the Department of Health. The Early Childhood Policy Paper, A Bright Start for a Brilliant Future, advocates for cross-ministry and agency collaboration to promote community messaging resources around what is proven to be essential for young children from birth through the age of 8 to have a strong foundation in life. Strong foundations are built through nurturing relationships and meaningful experiences. The Basics brings families and community together to give our children a strong start in life. We are using 5 basic principles, and they are maximizing love and managing stress, talk, sing, and point, count, group, compare, explore through movement, play, read, and discuss stories. Madam Chair, Business Unit 27175, the Child Development Program, currently funds the salaries dedicated to the CDP staff programs. The team works diligently to maintain its accreditation status and engages in quarterly performance quality improvement sessions. Madam Chair, the coordinator of the Child Development Program has been leading on the work for the Bermuda National Standards Committee. The reaccreditation process has been similar to applying for first-time accreditation. Some of the highlights of the Child Development Program in 22-23 have included cross-ministry collaboration and community partnership. The Nurturing of Our Nation campaign, led by the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors, afforded the Child Development Program the opportunity to participate in live stream panel discussions, focus groups, and the Parenting Expo. The Parent Expo allows parents and carers to meet many of the program service providers and gain firsthand knowledge about CDP services. Some parents were able to sign up their children for the universal developmental screening. Madam Chair, the Child Development Program responded to the increasing interest of fathers to access services, supporting facilitation to the Fathers Focus Group. The curriculum for this 6-week series was created by the CDP specifically for fathers. The purpose of this group was for fathers to find mutual interest, support among others while gaining knowledge of CDP, as well as services offered to support them. The fathers reflect on their parenting relationship with their children while considering ways which to strengthen these relationships. The series was well attended and is planned to be repeated. Madam Chair, the Child Development Program anticipates engaging in onboarding new hires and the establishment of the Early Intervention Service, formerly the Portage Program. The Early Intervention Service is designed for Bermuda's using a range of early intervention best practice. It will be staffed by early intervention supervisor with 3 early intervention specialists. Madam Chair, I now refer you to page B134, the subjective analysis for current accounts estimate for the Department of Education. This page provides an aggregate of detailed inline expenditures previously mentioned. The variance of significant for the categories are as follows. Salaries increased and wages decreased by $4,287,000 or 6%, and $1,101,000 or 23% respectively. So they went up by 6%, and then wages decreased by 23%, mainly due to addition of substitutes and personnel for the signature learning schools of Francis Patton and Purvis. Other personnel costs increased by $215,000 or 93%, reflecting an actual expenditure of long service awards. Training costs went up by 12% or 4% higher, while transport decreased by $10,000 or 16% over the prior fiscal year. Travel costs decreased by $2,000 or 4% over the prior fiscal year. Communication costs decreased by $66,000 or 9%, in part reflecting the completion of the number of projects linked to information technology support. Professional services decreased by $943,000 or 31% due to reallocation of funds for education reform for the newly reformed unit and expenditure efficiencies. Rental costs increased by $75,000 or 8% for office space in the IT facilities student services team to be located together, while repair and maintenance costs decreased by $164,000 or 8% due to a decrease of COVID-19 related expenses. Energy costs decreased by $213,000 or 15%, with the prior fiscal due to expected efficiencies at Clearwater Middle School and Heron Bay Primary. Materials and supplies expenditure is $146,000 or 8% higher due to the expenditure related to the signature learning for Francis Patton and Purvis. Grants and contributions increased by $336,000, and those funds have been allocated to support the school redesign and school transformation work at Cedar Bridge Academy. Madam Chair, pages B135 to B136 show that there are 1,070 full-time employee posts, an additional 36 posts compared to 22-23. The majority of these relate to the increase in substitutes for the signature learning schools of Francis Patton and substitutes and for the signature learning schools of Francis Patton and Purvis Primary. The department will continue to monitor and review the number of full-time employees, ensuring both efficiency and effectiveness in staffing resources. Madam Chair, B137 and B140 list the performance measures for the Department of Education. These measures reflect the priority areas in which will be monitored and for which staff and schools in the department will be held accountable during the year. Madam Chair, I thank the Department of Education and the school staff for all efforts undertaken for education reform and general operations over the past year, and we look forward to the achievements and outcomes for education reform over the 23-24 fiscal year that will move us closer to our vision for learning and Bermuda's children. Madam Chair, this concludes my presentation on Head 17, the Department of Education, and I will now move on to the budget estimate for Head 41.
Thank you, Minister Darrell. I just wanted to let you know you're about halfway through your allotted 3 hours, about an hour and a half remaining, approximately.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Head 41 is the Bermuda College. Madam Chair, the Bermuda College mission is to provide the community with the innovative programs, training, and support services to access the partnerships that lead to local and global success. It demonstrates its commitment to the success of its diverse student body by offering transfer programs leading to success at the university level, offering professional and technical training leading to success in the workforce, prep programs leading to success in the classroom. As the only post-secondary institution on the island, the Bermuda College also realizes its significant role in the economic recovery and growth agenda of the government and the island as a whole. Madam Chair, found on B 147, the college receives an annual grant from the Ministry of Education, and the allocation for the fiscal year 23-24 is $14,653,901, which is the same amount that was reported in last year's budget brief. However, it should be noted that the ministry was able to provide an additional grant in the amount of $200,000 during the 22-23 fiscal year to the Bermuda College. The ministry has also allocated a capital grant of $75,000 of the over $3 million requested by the Bermuda College for much needed capital upgrades to its aging campus. Madam Chair, Dr. Duranda Green is the president of the Bermuda College, which is governed by the Board of Governors. The chair of the board is Mr. Jerome Reed. Other current members of the board are Mr. Nasir Wade, who's the deputy chair, Ms. Whitney Butterfield, Ms. Sherry Dill, Mr. Thomas Christopher Famous, JPMP, Mr. Frank Chip Gillis, Mrs. Branwyn Smith King, and Mrs. Charmaine Tucker. Ex officio members are the Honorable Randolph Horton, who's the chairman of the Honorary Fellows, Mrs. Jasmine Smith, she's the permanent secretary for education, Mrs. Carmita Hendrickson, support staff representative, Miss DeQuay Davis, the student representative, and Miss Nachika Trott, who's the faculty representative. Madam Chair, Bermuda College, as an accredited institution with the New England Commission of Higher Education, continues to be the most economical choice for Bermudians and residents on their journey to attain post-secondary education. It not only offers great value for money when compared to the first 2 years of any four-year institution in the United Kingdom, North America, or the Caribbean, but also offers innovative education and training, quality instruction, and unparalleled student support. Madam Chair, the major highlight for college this year was the opening of its new Athene Center development in April, representing the first new development on the campus since 1996. The center is home to the Aspen Innovation Lab, a Thor division of professional career, a Thor computer lab, and Catalina classroom. Madam Chair, in the fall of 2022, the college introduced several new courses on its offerings, including insurance operations, management involving risk, business analytics, business Spanish and intercultural communication, integrating research on evidence-based practice healthcare, integrated marketing best practice, and advanced global analytics. While the new programs offered by its Author Professional and Continuing Education Division, the long-term career certification, intellectual disabilities aid certification, Google Analytics certificate, and the Coaching Foundation certificate in partnership with the International Coaching and Leadership Institute. Madam Chair, the dual enrollment program, a partnership between the Bermuda College and the Department of Education, continues to be a success, with 56 participating in the program during this past year. It should also be noted that its May 2022 commencement commencement, 7 dual enrollment students graduated from the Bermuda College before earning their high school diplomas. Madam Chair, as the Bermuda College fulfills its mission of providing its students with access to partnership that led to local and global success, 12 student excellence were accepted to the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society College this past year. These students joined 43 others who have been inducted since 2019 when the Bermuda College Beta Chi Epsilon chapter was established. Madam Chair, the Bermuda College continued to do its part to not only educate its students, but also educate and inform the community at large through various events organized throughout the year. This year's events included a 2-part lecture series, Murder in Paradise, addressing the serious plight of gun violence amongst our Black males. In partnership with BEST, Bermuda College hosted monthly Eco Lunch and Learns. Additionally, as part of the college's annual Bochet Science Week, a public lecture entitled The Brain and Healthy Aging was held with Bermuda Dr. Eva De Rosa, Dean of Faculty at Cornell University. During her very informative lecture, she explored her research into cognitive abilities and brains as we age. In January, Bermuda College partnered with the APA, who held the board retreat in Bermuda and offered 3 free workshops to local psychologists and Bermuda College students. The Bermuda College also continued to offer its very popular special topics and insurance course entitled Foundations of Bermuda's International Reinsurance Sector, sponsored by ABIR. Madam Chair, in June, the Bermuda College, in partnership with Cocoa Reef Resort, hosted approximately 60 overseas guests, the annual Dyslexia Foundation conference in its newly renovated Athene Lecture Theater. This was the first time the foundation had partnered with any college or university, and by all accounts, it was a great success. The college is looking forward to hosting similar conferences as a way to increase its revenue. Madam President, last month, the Bermuda College Company host of honorary fellows inducted 2 new fellows, Peter Hardy and Mr. Larry Mosselin. Both were honored and celebrated for their significant contributions to this community beyond their respective fields. Madam Chair, supporting output measures for the college initiatives this past year are as follows. In May 22, the Bermuda College held its first in-person graduation since the pandemic, graduating 93 students who received their associate's degrees, diplomas, and certificates, with 1 student earning 2 degrees. The college also graduated its first student with its Associate in Science Pre-Med, a dual enrollment student, and its first graduate with Associate in Arts and Foreign Language. The breakdown of graduates by divisions are as follows: 36 graduates in Arts and Science, 29 in Business, 6 in Hospitality, 16 in Technical Education, and 7 in Nursing and Allied Health. Additionally, another 9 students graduated from its partner institution, 6 from Mount St. Vincent University with a bachelor's degree in business administration, 3 from Miami University with a master's degree and in special education. Madam Chair, in May 22, the Athora Professional and Care, or APACE division, awarded 250 professional designations and workforce development certificates that included 10 public school students who received their certificate in nursing assistance as part of the development of education's dual enrollment program with the college, and 72 high school students who earned the City and Guilds certificate in employability skills. The breakdown of professional designations and workforce development certificates were earned as follows: 3 AMA, 4 in certificates in human resources, 2 in the ACCA, that's the Association of Certified Accountants, 1 in a diploma, ACA diploma in financial and management accounting level, 1 in ACCA designation, 4 Building Owners and Management Institute, 29 certificate in basic horticulture, 9 certificates in basic horticulture level 2, 30 certificates in bartending, 16 certificates for nursing assistants, 2 emergency medical technicians, and 11 Endeavor Maritime Springboard programs, 1 International Compliance Association, 3 in the ICA Certificate in Compliance, 1 in the ICA Certificate in Financial Crime Prevention, 2 ICA International Advanced Certificate in Regulatory Compliance, 2 Advanced Certification for Anti-Money Laundering, 1 Specialist Certificate in Anti-Corruption, 1 Specialist Certificate in Financial Crime Risk and New Technology, 1 in Special Certificate of Money Laundering Risk and Correspondent Banking, 3 World Instructor Training, Personal Training Certifications, online programs. There were 13 bookkeeping certificates, 4 certificates in accounting and finance, 3 certificates in business writing, 2 certificates in data analysis, 1 certificate in mastering Microsoft Excel, 1 in leadership development, 1 in online teaching, 1 certificate in project management, 3 certificates in teaching adults, 1 certificate in web design, and 1 coding certificate. 1 in entrepreneurial certificate, 1 grammar refresher certificate, 2 management certificates, 1 management remote worker certificate, 3 SQL certificates, and 1 supervisory and leadership certificate. Madam Chair, in the fall of 2022, the college enrolled 583 students in its academic divisions. There were also 486 students serviced through their PACE during the same period. Madam Chair, in 2022, the Bermuda College received $14,903,000. So let me say that again. They received $14,903,900, or 78% of its operating budget from its government grant. Bermuda College also receives a special grant of $300,000 to assist students in the financial need with their tuition, both in the academic and PACE divisions in the 22-23 academic year. The ministry also provided an additional $200,000 for operating expenses and $175,000 in capital funding. Madam Chair, the Bermuda College's budgeted revenue of $4,033,636 from other sources included student tuition and fees for credit courses, PACE revenue, bookstore revenue, testing center revenue, and rental income, including Cocoa Resort. This amount and the government grant made up a total revenue figure for the 22-23 budget year of $19,837,536. Madam Chair, during this period, salaries and benefits accounting for $13,234,917, or 69% of the budget. This represents a 0.75% increase in salaries when compared to 21-22. Madam Chair, the Bermuda College annual IT expenditures included $20,710 on augmented reality and virtual reality products to provide students with virtual hands-on experience via simulation activities. The college continues to replace high-priority hardware and infrastructure items identified as near end of their useful life, including switches, servers, cabling, telephone systems, and other computer hardware items. In addition to government grant, the Bermuda College is thankful for the support of corporate donors who donated $125,425 via the Bermuda College Foundation to assist in updating the college IT infrastructure during the 22-23 fiscal year. In addition, the Bermuda College also received donations totaling to $243,071 for equipment to support its programs. Chubb for the electric and hybrid trainers for its automotive program, Oakley Capital Investments for its aquaponics lab, and Centennial Foundation for its additional simulators for its nursing lab. Unfortunately, due to supply chain issues that has delayed the equipment's arrival on island, the equipment will be introduced into the programs during the next academic year. Madam Chair, as part of the college commitment to providing a safe and healthy environment with students and employees, it spent $464,000 on improvements to its physical plant and routine cleaning and maintenance contracts. This included its initial deposits for repairs to its library roof and refurbishing of the faculty center elevator. These works will be completed during the next fiscal year. Bermuda College is projected to spend $395,000 on insurance and $1,031,000 on electricity and other utilities during the 22-23 fiscal year to decrease its electricity costs. The college replaced all its interior lights with LED lights and installed panels on 2 buildings on campus during the past year, with funding provided through the Bermuda College Foundation. The cost savings are due to be realized in the next fiscal period. Madam Chair, a total of $29,832 in financial assistance was allocated to students who enrolled in the academic divisions, who demonstrated a financial need from the college operating budget. This amount was supplemented with the additional $300,000 from government mentioned previously, and another $164,388 from donations received by the Bermuda College Foundation. Additionally, students received $113,848 of scholarships from private donors. A total of 455 awards were granted and 315 students over the course of the 22-23 academic year. Madam Chair, later this month, the college will host a representative from the Accreditation Commission for the in nursing, that's called ACAN, for an initial site visit as the first step in the accreditation process for its nursing program. The college has also established a planning committee to organize a series of events to form part of its 50th anniversary celebrations that will take place during the 2024-25 academic year. Madam Chair, salaries continue to form the majority of the Bermuda College budget, and the college continues to review operations, seeking ways to decrease its labor costs while still providing a quality education to its students. Delivering success, the Bermuda College current strategic plan is the blueprint to steer the college towards its 50th anniversary in 2024. As the plan ends in 2024, $50,000 will be set aside for the development of the next 5-year plan over the next fiscal year. As part of the government's agenda, the Bermuda College will utilize the $300,000 tuition grant to assist students with financial needs in the academic and PACE division. That's $300,000, Madam Chair, of government support. A comparative number of students is anticipated to be assisted with the 23-24 grant. Madam Chair, the Bermuda College will continue to work with the Department of Education to provide college courses to qualified students through its dual enrollment program as part of the new signature learning programs introduced into the Bermuda Public School curriculum. The college will continue to forge alliances with the professional credentialing and accreditation agencies for workforce development and professional certification, such as the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, the ACCA, Building Owners and Managers Institute for Building Owners and Managers, City and Guilds for the Applied Sciences, Global Knowledge for Information Technology, International Compliance Association, Association of Certified Anti-Money Laundering Specialists, and KICSCO for compliance of local professional bodies. Madam Chair, during the upcoming year, the college will implement a prior learning assessment program to allow students to earn college credit for learning gained outside a traditional academic environment. It will also develop an entrepreneurship course as part of the Associate in Business program and complement its technical education programs. Bermuda College will also continue to expand its articulation agreements with higher education institutions in the United Kingdom and throughout the North America to ensure a seamless transition for the Bermuda College graduates who wish to pursue additional education at the 3- and 4-year institutions. Madam Chair, over the next year, the Bermuda College will continue to work in establishing a complete and accurate database of its alumni, including those from the 3 former institutions, the Bermuda Technical Institute, the Academic Sixth Form Center, and the Bermuda Hotel and Catering College as it prepares for its 50th anniversary celebrations. Madam Chair, during the next fiscal year, the college will review its per credit tuition rate, which has not been reviewed since 2018. As part of the review, it will always seek ways to increase its financial aid to ensure that no student, Madam Chair, is denied access to Bermuda College due to finances. I'm going to read that line again. As part of the review, it will seek ways to increase its financial aid to ensure that no student is denied access to the Bermuda College due to finances. Madam Chair, be happy to hear this one. As I close, I wish to thank the board, the executive, the administration, faculty, the staff at the Bermuda College for their work throughout the year. Thank you, Madam Chair. This concludes the budget head 41 for the Bermuda College and my overall presentation of the 23-24 budget for the Ministry of Education.
Thank you, Minister. We have approximately an hour and 15 remaining for debate. We will need to break for lunch during that period. So I'm looking at the senators, but I would propose to continue now, but would look to break for lunch at approximately 12:30, 12:45, 12:30. See nods. Okay, thank you. Are there any senators who would wish to speak to this? Senator Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Firstly, I'd like to thank the minister for providing the brief this morning and giving a really thorough overview of the Ministry of Education and some of the reforms that I know that most of the population has been very keen to get information on. I think it's important that I take this opportunity to thank all of the educators in Bermuda who have a very important role to guide our young people towards a future that has some anxiety, I think, from most people's standpoint at this point, what the job market will look like, and knowing that having a strong education foundation is what is going to help them as they move forward. So thank you to all of the teachers that give the time and their resources in order to provide the guidance to our students, and to all the administrators that support those teachers. I think it's important that we thank all of them and the hard work that they do. Madam Chair, as we go through a reform of education, we will say things like trying to make things work better, try to make things more efficient. And as we're going through this transition, we need to make sure that we're not making our students and our educators feel as if they are failing. We are trying to make things better because it is a necessity to make things better. And that's a balancing act that I believe that all the senators here will try to make sure that as we are moving towards progress, what we are dealing with is not a widget that's created in a factory. These are children, these are our students and the future of our country. And all citizens of Bermuda look at education as a priority and look at this as probably the most important ministry in our country, because this is what the foundation will be for our future. So with that, Madam Chair, I'm going to start with Head 16 on page B127. Under 26000 General Administration, I will note that the minister pointed out that there is a significant reduction under General Administration because of a lot of those resources will be moved to the Educational Reform Unit. I was wondering if the minister would be able to provide us with a little more detail of what will be done in general administration that's left behind once we take a lot of those resources out and move it to the reform unit. There's 815,000 that is left from a budget that was 3,610,000. So if we could just get some details of exactly what functions will continue to happen under general administration now that we've had this transition. Still on page B127, I'm looking at 26080, the grants to external bodies. If the minister can give us some details of I know he mentioned some of the things that are going to happen with these grants to external bodies, but if you could give us a little more detail specifically to these grants and what the expected outcome will be for providing these grants, that will be helpful. Thank you. 26090, scholarships and awards. I know the minister will remember last year this time we had quite a long discussion on the scholarships and the support that is needed for a lot of our young people that are looking to further education, not just locally, but also when trying to go overseas. And at the time in that discussion, we figured that the demand for funding was significantly higher than the amount that the government was able to provide. But in saying that, there has been a $36,000 reduction from that debate that we had last year. So knowing that we were not able to give the resources to the young people that need to further their education, just wondering if the minister can speak to the fact that we were not able to find further support for them in this upcoming budget. We also had a discussion last year about several of the private scholarships that go unclaimed year after year, and whether there had been an opportunity for the government to reach out to the private scholarship providers and work on a collaborative effort to try to access the funding that obviously is needed for our young people to go overseas. The price of tertiary education has continued to expand year after year, and knowing that we have an issue in Bermuda presently not having the financial backing of our students, it's important that we figure out ways to be able to support them so that they can get to tertiary education, knowing that in the future that all of us see coming, without that, they will not be able to access the jobs that will be provided in the future. So if the minister can give us an update on whether that collaboration was able to happen over the last year, and whether there's any progress towards trying to access some of that private financial backing for scholarships that goes unclaimed year after year. Madam Chair, 26140, the Education Reform Unit, obviously has been one of the major changes in this budget, and moving towards what we will be seeing, and we started to see. So in the first year, we have seen the addition of the signature schools, and we will be seeing the implementation of the parish primary schools. I was wondering if the minister would be able to give us an update on where we are with the education authority. and how long it will take to transition from this education reform to an education authority, and seeing what the cost is for the education reform unit at 4,412,000, whether we can have an expectation that this will be a similar figure for the education authority when it is implemented, and whether there has been any analysis of what the cost will be of the education authority going forward, how many members will be needed, and what the remuneration will be for each of those people that will be needed to form the education authority. Madam Chair, on page B128, under professional services, I believe that in this particular area, the minister said that there was some of this was going to be the contract that we have with the overseas firm towards moving towards our reform of education. I know that there has been quite a bit of talk around the continuation of this contract. How long will we need to continue this contract? So obviously, with this upcoming year, it's the support towards moving the first two of our parish primary schools. But as this is a process that will be ongoing for quite some time, and it is being done step by step, I'm wondering if the minister is able to give us an idea whether this is a contract that will have to be renewed again in the upcoming year, and what we think the desired outcome will be each time that we have to renew this contract, so that we have the expertise to help us along with this transition. And then once we go through the transition, will we need to continue the contract so that we can have an analysis of how the implementation has worked and whether we have reached the desired outcome in the change to the new and improved education system. Madam Chair, I'm going to look at page B129 under the performance measures. One of the major pieces that was discussed is how we are communicating with the stakeholders and making sure that everybody has been brought along with this process. And I will say that the ministry has done an effective job of having both the media presence and the social media presence and trying to get information from the public. My question is really around the communication with our teachers. So, Madam Chair, a lot of times, specifically within the Ministry of Education, our teachers are not able or not comfortable with speaking out when they do not agree with the changes that are happening. So has there been a way for the ministry to actually engage with the teachers that allows them to feel comfortable with expressing how they feel if the changes that are being presented to them are not what they think should be happening? I know this is a difficult portion of this, but sometimes that communication that we think we are giving is one entity speaking to or at another entity, where the communication has to be both sides. And at one point, this led to a vote of no confidence. So I think it's important that we know whether that communication has improved and whether the teachers are feeling that they are actually being engaged in this process. So when there are meetings for engagement, are these meetings happening during the school day, or are they having opportunities to have these meetings at times then where teachers are going to be available and that they're going to feel that their input is valued? Madam Chair, at this time, those are the questions that I have on this first head. So I don't know whether the minister would like to start to answer those, or maybe there are others that have questions that come under this head while we're getting close to the lunchtime.
Yes, Senator Darrell, would you prefer to address these questions later? Yes, I see that there are other questions. Thank you, Minister. Senator White.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank the minister for the brief, which I thought was very good. I've got nothing specific to any one business head or business unit or head, but I do have one high-level question relating to the value for money. How does government determine whether the 140 million spent on education is being used wisely? So as I look at the education ministry, to me, there's two elements. Number one, are our children being educated to meet the demands of education in 2023? And will their education enable them to succeed in their careers? And secondly, are we spending the 140 million allocated to education wisely and efficiently? So with the first objective, and as I look at the 4.4 million allocated to education reform, I guess what I'd like to see is and understand more is sort of obtain progress reports on the outcomes as to how, to me, education reform must be done to improve the grades of our students. Yet I'm not understanding whether our student grades are improving as a result of the 3 years thus far of education reform. So I guess that's one comment, which to me was probably the most important performance metric. Is all this reform resulting in higher grades and the ability of our students to achieve their career goals through Bermuda education? Secondly, in terms of the cost of our education, I'm certainly no expert on this, but as I review the costs of the public school system compared to the private school system, for example, I looked at Clearwater School as just one of one school amongst many in the school system, and in last year the average cost for each student was roughly $40,000 for each of the 71 students in the school, with a ratio of staff to student of one staff member for each 2.5 students, which just sounded high to me. So I guess all this sort of preamble and narrative just to ask the one question: how will government assess their own performance in terms of the value for money and the improvement that we'll see through education reform for the 140 million of funds allocated to this ministry in the coming year? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator White. Are there any more questions before we break for lunch? Seeing none. So let us adjourn for lunch now. We have approximately an hour remaining, and say an hour, 10 minutes. My math is obviously wrong. We started at 10:25 and it's now, okay, so my math isn't as bad as I thought it was. So we have an hour remaining, so let's break for lunch now, and I will see you all back here at 2 o'clock. Thank you.